Did you know you could sponsor Nerd and Tie? That's right. For $20, we'd say your name here and say how cool you are and how you look fly in those jeans, even if you're not wearing jeans. That's just the kind of people we are. All you have to do is go to nerdandtie.com and click on the Sponsor Our Shows button on the menu, and you can find the instructions there. Also, you can contribute to our legal fund by going to gofundme.com/nerdandtie.
This month on Nerd and Tie, we'll give you an update on what's going down with Bubba Fest. Talk about the Lightyear trailer. Dune was a movie. Yet another Cowboy Bebop trailer. Star Trek Prodigy premiered, and the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. All this and more on a particularly spooky episode of Nerd and Tie.
Oh, I gotta get used to live changing that level because Skype always wants to turn your audio down when the music's going.
In case people might not know, we're recording this on Halloween night. That's why
It's
I gave that
spooky.
It's very spooky. I've got my, I'm not a real witch like Trey, but I do have my like hat on and my cape, and I feel very cute tonight. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited to talk about.
You haven't introduced us, though.
Yeah, you haven't introduced us.
I haven't said anything. I know. I'm getting to it. I'm very excited to talk with the Nerd and Tie host. So, noticing what a poor job I'm doing is the actual Wiccan Trey Dorn.
I'm taking notes, and you'll be presented with a letter grade at the end of the episode.
I just want to wear a cute outfit.
Look, your schoolgirl fantasies include the school. You can't just pick one of it.
Fine. My having recently exiled the cat out of their recording space. My friend and yours, Gen Proc.
Okay, but I love him a lot, but he likes to bite my feet to let me know that he wants to play with me.
I want to point out, I just want to be really clear.
And I'm very ticklish on my feet.
I want to be very clear when I joke about schoolgirl fantasies. My joke is about Nick fantasizing about being back in school, not fantasizing about schoolgirls. I just want to be really clear. I want to be really clear about
that bullet.
I'm talking about Nick fantasizing being back in their school days and nothing else.
I would say there's just to double clarify that. Yeah, I just wish I could have had I just wish my adolescence was a lot more like Little Witch Academia. Is that so much to ask for?
Yes, it's a lot to ask for.
Yes, it is.
It's absolutely.
But it is Halloween. We know what Nick's Halloween costume is. Trey, what is your Halloween costume?
I am dressed clearly in an elaborate cosplay that is too large for my office. It's highly detailed, and I will tell you exactly what it is in a moment. I am 100% dressed up as Robots in Disguise Megatron.
Oh wow!
The car robots one, not the. So yeah, I got the big purple wings. Everything. I'm in hand mode right now. It's really difficult to hold this position.
I was about to say the really impressive part is that you managed to make all 6 modes work with your costume. I didn't expect that.
I didn't know I was this flexible, but I trained. I got ready for it, and I was you'd be surprised at what you can anchor things on, and that's just all I'm gonna say.
How about you, Genjamin?
Oh, this year I'm going as a depressed 30-something-year-old.
Oh. Oof.
Oh no, too real.
Extremely relatable.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh gosh, no. Well, I feel like tonight's we've got a lot of things to talk about. Some of which I'm extremely excited to talk about, and some of which I have no idea what is awaiting me, including our first story.
Our first story is we're going to talk about Bubba Fest, which we talked about on the show a year ago. We talked about Bubba Fest a year ago when the owner of Bubba Fest, Chris Lewis, mocked the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So let's just say this is a less positive story than that one. So it's just to give you like some context about Bubba Fest and Chris Lewis. Chris Lewis, besides, purposely inviting Vic Mignogna as a guest after everyone else was saying, hey, maybe dudes with multiple documented sworn accusations of sexual harassment against them might be a bad choice for con guests. That stuff. Sweet crossword, but and like literally, and I played a clip last year of Nikolaj Coster-Waldau on Jimmy Kimmel Live, in which the two of them compare Bubba Fest to the Fire Festival. So, just to give you some context, you can go back and listen to that old episode.
I'm remembering it now.
All right. So, what we mentioned is, and there's an article on our website about this also. Back September 21st, 2020, we published something on our website about this in text, and there was just a little side note that they had originally filed for bankruptcy, but withdrawn their bankruptcy after getting a PPP loan. Right?
Okay.
So here's the reason why we have an update is because Chris Lewis, legally David Christopher Lewis, is currently incarcerated in Horry County. Horry County.
This escalated very quickly.
Horry County, South Carolina.
Oh.
And I have confirmed. I am literally at time of recording. He was booked on October 14th, 2021, and as of October 31st, 2021, he is still incarcerated in Horry County. I don't believe he's gone to trial yet on what he's being held for. So he's in jail, not prison, but he is currently in jail. And the reason why I have been looking into, and remember that I have not been able to confirm the actual charges he's being held on. So it's there's a level of hearsay here. So this is the allegations that I have seen put on Facebook, on Rate That Comic-Con and other places, and what people have messaged me. I've had a couple of sources not wanting to go on the record talk about it, which is why we haven't published an article. Is apparently it is related to that PPP loan. The rumor is that again, we have confirmed that he's in jail. That we 100% know, that is fact and verified. But the rumor is that the reason why it was for the fraud involving that PPP loan. That loan was for, to remind you, was for $195,000 that he got for Bubba Fest, in which he claimed there were 17 employees with an average salary of about $55,000 a year. So, and again, it's, Bubba Fett, it's located in Kentucky. He got arrested in Myrtle Beach. Now, you may be asking yourself, why was he arrested in South Carolina when he lives in Kentucky? That there are rumors and stories that about him going on the run, but I have not confirmed any of that.
Oh.
But,
oh boy.
So again, all of that is rumors as for why, but I can 100% say that Bubba Fest owner Chris Lewis is currently incarcerated in Horry County, South Carolina. He's currently in jail. I'm looking at his mugshot.
Wow.
I'm looking at the Horry County jail website, which lists him as again, as of October 31st, 2021, as still incarcerated.
Jeez. Wow. Wowzers.
Did you see why I didn't want to tell? Did you see why I didn't want to give you guys details about this story before the episode? I wanted. Yeah.
Yup. Wow. What a
Yikes.
bad guy.
What? I don't even, part of me doesn't even care why he's in jail. I'm just happy that this garbage bag is there.
Yeah.
It's a good fit for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Look.
Except no, not really.
I mean, it's just an amazing tale.
It really is. It really is. Just
You cannot make this stuff up. You just cannot make this stuff up. This is real life. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what I was expecting there, but okay. I don't even know how.
Well,
here's
the thing. The thing. I don't know if you know this, but the federal government takes fraud pretty seriously.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I've been told that.
And it's if you're a convention runner, committing fraud of any kind is bad.
It's real bad.
And eventually what happens is you can try to avoid it, but once the feds get involved, you're kind of boned.
Mm-hmm.
And now again, I don't know for sure, I have not been able to confirm certain things with the story beyond the incarceration of Chris Lewis, of David Christopher Lewis. I have not been able to, confirm that this is exactly why he's there, but I suspect it probably is.
Man, what a bad look for your convention, too.
It's a bad look for any convention if the person who owns and runs it commits fraud.
I mean, you've already been compared to Fire Fest. How much worse does it get?
And this should maybe be a warning to other convention runners that they shouldn't.
Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, and then maybe if they have, things are going to catch up to them.
Yeah.
But we're just going to talk about this convention runner today.
Yeah. We'll stick to that for now. Well, you know what? Speaking of things that were unexpected and delighted me, albeit for completely different reasons. So earlier this week, the trailer dropped for the animated film Lightyear, starring Chris Evans. Not as the action figure Buzz Lightyear, but as the space hero Buzz Lightyear. It's a trailer, and we need to talk about it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting about the tone they're going for. It's very different from the previous iterations of the Buzz Lightyear show within the show canon.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of weird even for Pixar. I'm the trailer that we have looks very not grim but optimistic and kind of quasi serious. Not what I was expecting for
serious
Chris Evans
very...
Well, I got the inspirational hopeful movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
The weird thing for me is when you see Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, in the Toy Story movies,
the action figure, not the guy. We need to clarify.
So you're saying this is the guy the action figure was based off of?
Right. So the idea is that this is the fiction.
I totally misconstrued that.
Oh no!
I was just man, I hope at the end of the film the dude wakes up and he's just he's been the toy the entire time.
No. The idea is that this is the fiction that the toy is built off of. They did this before.
That did not come across to me at all.
They did this before with Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Was a cartoon
starring
series.
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, starring Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
There are two versions.
When are those guys gonna show up?
There are two versions of the pilot. One that has Tim Allen, and the other one with Patrick Warburton. And then the series is Patrick Warburton. It's that was a very tonally what I expected for a Buzz Lightyear series. It's very kids cartoon action-y.
much more totally similar
Yeah, this
to
is
Toy Story.
This feels.
Where it's like,
oh my God! It's the in-universe dark gritty reboot of Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah!
And it's got like with the David Bowie music in the background.
To the star, man waiting in the dark. Yeah.
It's just like, whoa. Like, I'm not opposed to it. Like, I actually think it looks kind of charming, if I'm gonna be real with you guys,
I'm
but,
here
like,
for it.
It's such a weird idea.
it's so, yeah. It's
Chris
so
Evans says
unexpected.
one freaking word in that whole trailer. He says "and." He says a conjunction.
Yeah, that's all we get of Chris Evans.
We get a
as Buzz
conjunction.
Lightyear.
We get a conjunction out of Chris Evans, and I know it's a conjunction because according to conjunction junction, that's its function.
Yes.
There were several Gundam fans over analyzing the trailer who were quick to point out there's a bunch of like round singular-eyed robots very briefly in the trailer, and all of them are green except for one red one.
Oh my God!
And it's like
Oh God, it's secret. Is Buzz Lightyear Char?
That's gonna be your twist, is that when Buzz Lightyear kills the people who might reveal that his real name is Cosfal Daikun.
Wait. Are someone gonna draw the unified Pixar reality that the whole thing takes place in the Universal Century?
Yeah, that's what it is. The first new type was actually Woody. You didn't realize.
All right.
Wait.
Let me go on AO3 and look up Toy Story X Gundam.
Is Lightning McQueen the eventually what happens to mobile suits?
Well, in Gundam Thunderbolt, there was a ethically highly questionable program that the Principality of Zeon started where amputees could start fusing their bodies with mobile suits. So, like, I'm not ruling it out.
I don't know. Cars feels more like it fits in with G Gundam.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a similar, like, storyline in which, like, it may not be, well, is it in universe of Gundam that, like, they have Gundam toys?
Kind of. And then you get, if you really want to get the really weird meta, you get the Build series, which is an anime in a universe where all of the other Gundam anime, the non-Build series Gundam anime, are anime that kids watch. The difference is that they can build mobile suit model kits and then fight with them Angelic Layer style.
Like,
I feel like we're losing the Buzz Lightyear part of this. I feel like we need to get back to. I think that, like, I love guys.
I was getting there.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Lightyear gets a toy series based off of it.
Oh.
Gundam gets a toy series based off of it.
Oh my God!
That's my link.
Is the
It's all
Pixar
coming
universe
back
the
together.
Build series universe that explains why the robots can fight each other?
I'm here for it.
The toys
I'm
are
super
alive.
here for it.
They're actually just regular Gundam model kits. It all makes sense now.
I'm willing to buy this. This sounds believable.
There's not much to say about the trailer other than the fact that it looks really cool.
It looks
really
fun. It's weird.
It is bizarrely inspirational. There's like a gag in the whole thing.
Okay, question though. Do we care about the change they made to his chin?
What part? Because it's still Derek Wyatt ginormous, which is what I care about.
Because the toy version of him has the swirl, and apparently the real version has a dimple.
I
might be just reading too much into.
No, I think it's the dark gritty reboot in universe.
Okay.
I always, when I looked at the toy, I just assumed
it's
Buzz
not.
Lightyear was bad at growing a beard.
Yeah,
That was...
it's hard to say. Like, I don't want to call it the dark gritty reboot. Like, I don't think we're gonna finally see Buzz Lightyear kill someone. But if Buzz Lightyear kills someone in the movie, I will buy everyone pizzas.
Okay, but I just had a brainwave. What if this movie does really, really well and they make another one similar to it, but it's a dark, gritty Western?
Oh, like it just like Unforgiven, but with Woody the cowboy.
Yes.
Get like just do it live action.
Yeah.
Get Tom Hardy or something.
It's Tom Hardy.
There's a snake in my boot.
Yeah.
You know, there's just it'll be a lot like Hell on Wheels, but
Oh God,
but with
no,
Woody and
Anson
Jessica.
Mount, Anson Mount, get Anson Mount.
Yes,
yeah,
Anson Mount.
Anson Mount is Woody.
We're too good at this.
I want
Oh
all
man,
of this
Dreamcasting. Who plays Jesse then?
My default is like because like my like I don't know, my default like a former child star turned pretty good action lead, I would go with Haley Steinfeld just because
Ooh, yeah, that
I
could be
like her a
interesting.
lot. And she's done Western. She was in True Grit.
But
She was in the remake.
But is she
Like,
age
she's-
appropriate for Anson Mount?
But like I guess I don't know if they are supposed to be dating or if he's like her older brother or something.
Yeah, but they're still
Yeah.
supposed to be relatively similar in age.
that's true. That
Maybe
would
go
work.
weird like Isla Fisher.
Ooh, yeah.
Or Amy
What-
Adams, and then just swap them out between each other, and you can't tell the
Yeah.
difference. I can tell the difference when they talk. I can't tell the difference when they're standing there.
I feel so bad because I have trouble thinking of things, Amy. Honest to God, the first thing that comes to mind whenever I think of Amy Adams is she's a good actress. It's too bad that the DC movies wasted her horribly on the worst version of Lois Lane ever.
Hey, she also had that arc on Smallville.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. Wow, she should stay away from DC. This has not been good for
She
her.
should just Superman. She should stay away from Superman.
Just stay
Clark
away from
Kent
Superman,
is not a
Amy.
no bad.
It's
All right.
not a good look for
All
you.
right, so I think do we have anything else to say about the Lightyear trailer?
I don't.
I
I'm
don't.
I'm charmed, and the animation is gorgeous.
Yeah,
They're-
it looks pretty, and okay. So speaking of looking pretty, Dune came out.
Dune.
It was the first half of Dune.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I'll give fair warning. I haven't seen it, and I've never read the book.
Have you seen any of the adaptations, either the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries
No,
or
I know
the
nothing.
'84 movie?
I know
Okay,
absolutely nothing. All
I-
I've heard is that fans of the books really like this version.
okay. So I've never read the books, but I have seen David Lynch's movie, and I have seen the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. So that is my relationship to Dune is now I have seen 3 different adaptations of, well, in this case, the first half of the book, because literally this movie is the first half of the book. The second half has been greenlit. The second
Well,
movie
that's
has
good,
been
at least.
greenlit, so they're going to
Okay.
make the rest of the movie. But I will say they did take like 2.5 hours to do half of what David Lynch already did in a way too long movie.
Oh,
So, like, the original Dune felt like the 1984 Dune was like, is really too long. The director's cut is like a slog. This apparently said too much happened there. We need to slow it down, and made a 2.5 hour movie, which only covers half of the David Lynch movie. And like, they didn't even bother casting Sting's character. I know the character's name. I'm not gonna try to say it out loud. I've never been good at saying it out loud. The character Sting played, That, to be fair, he only appears in really minorly in the first half of the book, so they didn't bother casting anyone and just wrote him out of scenes. So he's going to show up and be this huge character in the second movie with no plot seeding, because, like, it feels natural in the David Lynch version because he's, like, even though he doesn't say anything in those earlier scenes, his appearance is significant and he's there, right? So in this version, though, it like, the first movie was fine, but, like, when we hit the second movie, it's a very pretty movie. The visuals are gorgeous. If you...
I've heard that.
I watched it on HBO Max, and because I don't feel comfortable going back to theaters yet, but it is a thing that I could tell watching it that I would be like, it's one of those things where I'd be like, oh, I'd be so moved right now if I was watching this on a giant screen. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's not that it wasn't moving, or that I didn't see it as good, but I was like, it's one of those things where I know certain scenes have a bigger impact on me in those, which is why I go to theaters, in the first place. So overall, it's an enjoyable experience, I guess. The nice thing about watching it at home on HBO Max is that I could pause it and then, go to the bathroom, because again, it's 2.5 hours long, and I am 41, and my body's not great. So during a movie that long, I will have to get up and pee at some point.
I'm gonna get in trouble with Dune fans. I've not only not seen the movies, I tried to read Frank Herbert's Dune when I was 16 years old. I got bored out of my skull, and I never finished it. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry,
I will say that, like, for most of my friends who I've talked to who are fans of the book series, like, really don't think it doesn't get moving until the second book.
Well, that's not
because the whole point of the
going to get
but
me.
The whole point, but also that's the problem, is that, like, the adaptations. Well, I guess Sci-Fi Channel did do an adaptation of the second and third book as a single miniseries. But, like, part of the whole point of the Dune series is that it subverts the white savior narrative. But the problem is the first book is just the white savior narrative. So
it's got to establish that.
Yeah, you have to establish it to subvert it, and so, like, it just ends up reading straight. And so, like, whether or not, but, like, the problem is with this movie is just that it's fucking. I think there's a wonderful hour and 45-minute movie in this 2.5-hour movie. Sci-Fi Channel did it as, like, a 3-hour miniseries for the whole book, and they did it in 2, like, hour-and-a-half pieces, I think. And and that fit the plot in at the right pace. Like, it got the whole plot in there. 2.5 hours on what really is an hour-and-a-half of plot is just like, and I padded 15 minutes with some scenery porn, hour 45, great movie, I would have loved it. But at 2.5 hours, it's just, there's a lot of going, like, I mean, that's cool looking, that's a nice shot. And also, this is just my one problem with Dune, my biggest problem with Dune, and it pulls me out of the story every single time I watch something or anything like that. There's a character named Duncan Idaho, and look, I get that we're in a future Earth where people still have fairly typical first names. Like, the main character's Paul. Like, I'm fine with the Duncan part. But the surname of Idaho, what the fuck happened in this guy's family's history where someone changed their last name to Idaho? Because no one has the last name of Idaho, because Idaho, the name of the state Idaho, is a word that a guy made up and lied about its origins. A dude claimed it was a Native American word, but it's not. It's not based off anything. The state of Idaho has a name that is a made-up word, which means some point in Duncan Idaho's family history, someone said, hey, I'm going to change my last name to Idaho. And whatever happens in Dune is so unimportant to me wanting to know the story of whatever guy who, like, I don't care if it's, like, hundreds of years in the past said, I'm going to change my last name to Idaho. I want to know that guy's story, and I don't give a crap about the spice on Arrakis. Screw it. Tell me like, the story of the Idaho family.
Are they, like, the last Idahoans to exist?
Right? Like, did everybody else in Idaho die, and this last family said, we shall remember Idaho by becoming
is this, like,
the Idaho?
Is this tied into Zombieland and just like people were
Right.
named after the state they were from.
It's far enough in
curious.
the future. Is this the descendants of that Earth? Like,
well, no, this is a sequel to the 1996 film Spice World. I was of the understanding
gotcha. That makes perfect
what
sense
was
with the
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
I stole that joke and I'm not apologizing.
No, don't. It's good. But no, Nick, to your credit, a lot of sci-fi writers from that era are pretty dry.
Well, like
It's
that's
very
the
hard
thing,
to read
though.
their stuff. Like if you're not into it, then yeah.
I love Ray Bradbury. I love what you've lent me of Isaac Asimov. I could get into. I don't know what it was. Nothing about this.
Yeah.
Nothing about this world was like clicking for me at all. And I told a friend this, and his reaction was, "Well, I could understand, especially where you're at now, you not getting into it." I'm like, no. I was a 16-year-old identifying as a boy at the time. And my friend paused. He's a huge fan of Dune, and he's like, "Yeah, if you didn't like it, then you're never going to get into this franchise. I'm sorry."
I guess my only thing to say is you might want to check out the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. I'm not kidding. It's cheap, but it's well acted, and like it's the cast is actually decent. It's like,
my second
Children
favorite
of
King
Dune.
Arthur adaptation is a TV miniseries, so I can't knock it. I'll probably enjoy it. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the cast of the. Oh God, don't show me that Dune. Yeah, Frank
And I'm just
Herbert's
saying,
Dune.
like,
3 parts. They did in 3 parts.
don't feel bad about like not being able to get into a certain writer, because it happens to everybody. Like I found out that I cannot get into Dracula. I've tried reading Bram Stoker, and it's not for me.
But
I don't know why.
But Sci-Fi Channel's
It's weird.
Sci-Fi Channel's version had Alec, like most of the actors in the Sci-Fi Channel version you're not going to remember. Like you're not going to remember Alec Newman. Who is Alec Newman? He plays Paul in the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. I have no idea. Has this guy done anything remarkable? He's on Shetland. I'm literally looking through this guy's thing. I don't know him from anything other than than Dune. But on the other hand, playing his dad, playing Duke Leto Atreides in that was William Hurt. That's where they spent the money.
You gotta spend it somewhere.
Well,
he was. Just come on. Alec Newman was Jack the Ripper in Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Well, here's the thing: is they made Sci-Fi Channel also made a Children of Dune follow-up, which is they combined Dune Messiah and Children of Dune into a single miniseries. And they did a follow-up, and that's the one that has the really surprising cast, which includes besides the Borg Queen herself, Alice Krieg, has Susan Sarandon, who was the big money name they paid for, but a young James McAvoy.
Oh,
weird!
In one of his earlier roles,
Baby McAvoy, cool.
He's in Children of Dune, but he's not. But he's not in the adaptation of Dune, which is really we should be talking about Dune. So, the Trey movie review of Dune 2021 is it's half the movie. It's about an hour longer than it needs to be, but it's very pretty, and really every moment that you get on screen of Jason Momoa is worth it. Jason, so that's the thing is that this movie, like this movie has an amazing cast, right? Like you've got Oscar Isaacs playing Leto Atreides. You've got, Timothy Chalamet.
Jeez.
I actually finally have now seen a movie with Timothy Chalamet in it, which is remarkable. That I had somehow avoided watching any movies with him in it before. But you got Oscar Isaacs. You've got Stellan Skarsgård playing Baron Harkonnen. But Jason Momoa plays Duncan Idaho. That's also... And But also like Josh Brolin's in this. A whole bunch of other. I think Josh Brolin plays the same character that Patrick Stewart played in the '84 Dune. I always lose the character names except for Duncan Idaho. I always remember. But Jason Momoa plays Duncan Idaho, and every minute that Jason Momoa is on screen, also Dave Bautista's in this thing. But every moment that the movie just shifts when Jason Momoa is on screen, because Jason Momoa, who is playing the material straight and is not like hamming it up or doing anything, like he's just playing the character. He is just so like effortlessly charming in the role that you just want to watch Jason Momoa. And so like I will say, for Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho, this movie is worth it. Because it's true. Like, if they cut this movie down to something shorter, and if they cut a single second of Jason Momoa on screen, I would punch the director in the face. Because that's the best material in the whole film. And yeah, it's.
I have a question. Is it correct that Oscar Isaac is nude at one point in this film? Or am I just hearing things?
No, he's naked.
Okay.
He's buck naked at one point. It's not.
For him.
It's not like fun naked, but he's naked.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
No, it's not hot.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might be into it, but it's not my particular thing. In the scene, I would say Oscar Isaac's on a good day. Yeah, go for it. But that the context of the scene in which it's happening, no. So Dune was a movie. So let's talk about something else. Speaking of things that look really pretty, Nick, introduce the next topic.
Yeah. So let's looking at another one, and we keep bringing it up, but we finally got a proper trailer, not like a proof of concept film for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
The upcoming live action Netflix series. And I have more confidence in the project than I did before, and I was pretty positive earlier, so it still looks good.
Yeah,
it still looks
really good. Wow, I can't wait for John Cho as Spike, though. Like, just that was perfect casting. I've been saying that for months, but God,
yeah, he's got
casting.
the attitude down perfect.
Oh yeah, no, it's
what's kind of throwing me, in a good way, is just how much Mustafa Shakir sounds like Bo Billingsley did in the English version of Bebop.
Oh,
it's unnerving. Like, in a good way, but it is vaguely unnerving. It's like, oh wow, your Jet sounds identical. That's not bad, but it is
the casting
unexpected.
Is fan-freaking-tastic. And the thing's not even out yet. Like, and just like all the visuals and like the tone, and it just, watching it honestly made me want to go back and watch the anime again.
And if nothing else, maybe that'll be like no matter how the show turns out, I think it's always good to go back and rewatch Cowboy Bebop, because it stands the test of time. It is a legit classic, and I love it to death. It's still really good. It's still amazing good.
Well, I just did a rewatch last year because was that it was last year. Because my wife had never seen it, and so I was like, oh God, please hold up, because I hadn't rewatched it in a long time, and then yay, it did. Everything except for Faye's outfit holds up. Well, Faye's outfit technically holds up, but
au contraire, it holds up despite gravity sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite anime ever. Probably always.
But I will say that, like, her portrayal in the live action, I think, is fan-freaking-tastic.
It's
like,
pitch perfect for what I want from Faye, like the smart ass.
Oh, yeah,
is
no.
she wearing the super revealing outfit like in the anime? No, but she's still wearing outfits that do some revealing.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was a shot where it's like, oh, there's a boob there. Hello.
No, it's I'm very hyped.
Yes, same.
It still looks good. I'm still excited. I see no reason to not still be excited. Can't wait.
And like,
Legit can't wait.
even if it is, because I'm still unclear if it's just gonna be like remaking the episodes or making new content. Because so far I can see tons and tons of references to particular episodes, so it looks like they're just doing like a remake, which honestly is fine.
Yeah.
Because it looks so good and because it's being done so well. So
also, shout out to the one other concern that I've heard some people address that I do want to point out. Like, for anyone complaining that Ed isn't in the trailers, I agree. Ed is an integral member of the crew, but it's also worth noting that this is a 10-episode season, and in the original anime, Ed is only in 16 of the 26 episodes.
This is true.
So, like, there's a lot of content that that Best Hacker Girl was not present for.
Plus,
yeah, it's. I mean, it's.
and
Ed
Eric and I were talking about this earlier. Casting Ed.
Well,
it's gonna be a nightmare.
Also, Ed shows up. Ed shows up in episode 9 of the original series.
Yeah, weighs in. Like,
so they're doing a 10-episode season 1, and they're obviously wanting to take more time with these stories than they did in the original series. So, like, Ed not showing up until the second season would be fine. Also, or contrarily, they could be secretly planning on having Ed show up in like episode 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't want them to spoil that.
No, it'd be a really fun cliffhanger. To be like, oh, it's like the last episode,
right?
And oh my gosh, like here's the silhouette of Ed.
Non-binary icon Ed.
Yeah,
and despite the fact that the character is in the opening of every episode, Ed's first appearance is like, it is a shock to the system when you get to that episode.
Oh yeah.
Jamming with Edward. So like, I'm all for making live action Ed that same kind of shock, because you are probably going to bring in some newcomers to the series, and that's fine too. Like, I still want people to go back and watch the original anime because it's one of the greatest television shows ever made, but
and for a lot of people it's their introduction to anime, and honestly it's a really good one.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get people into anime.
It's true.
It's definitely one of them.
It's smart, it's stylish, it's emotional, it's really, really damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And so far what I'm seeing makes me feel like the people working on it get it.
Yes.
And I know, and admittedly, that's been one of the chief executives at Sunrise has been really, not a whole lot of people are making this comparison, but it's worth noting Netflix is also the distributor for the live action Gundam film that's being directed by the director of Godzilla vs. Kong. And Sunrise also owns Cowboy Bebop. Their current executives have been pretty protective of the properties that they have and trying to make sure that the studios that they have doing adaptations actually understand what they're working with. And that makes me more optimistic as well. Yeah. Sunrise has been pretty hands-on about this stuff. This isn't G-Savior, the 1999 Canadian Gundam movie where the only person on staff from Sunrise who was on set did not speak any English. That's a true story.
That's amazing.
And the only other Japanese like main staffer on the movie was Kunio Okawara, who did the same thing he'd been doing for Gundam since the 70s and drew the robots. Like, like I know, shocking. Yeah, no, I really do feel like this is going to be a special show. I can't wait to talk about it when it comes out. So,
Yeah,
that's your monthly Bebop update from us.
yeah. Apparently, I'm gonna look. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna not put Cowboy Bebop in the thumbnail for the episode. All right.
Oh wow.
Ah, for once.
Oh, that'll
Yeah.
really freak people out.
I was really proud of last month's.
I liked last month's. But while we're talking about Cowboy Bebop and taking something that's typically anime and turning it into live action, I think we should talk about something that's typically live action and its new foray into animation.
Ooh, yeah. Although to be fair, the second series ever made in this franchise was animated.
Yes, and it was the first one to get an Emmy, but it's still worth acknowledging this is an interesting little jump because Star Trek has yet another new show.
Yeah.
Star Trek Prodigy, made technically for Nickelodeon, and the first episode debuted this week. I know Trey and I watched it.
Yeah. It's really good.
I think it's fun. Animation's gorgeous. Like, really, really good animation. If you were like me and kind of, despite my love of Lower Decks, I was initially put off by the Rick and Morty art style. That is not present at all for this new show. Thank God.
So for those of you who don't know, Star Trek Prodigy is a new series that effectively they wanted to create a series that would onboard new Star Trek fans. Because really they saw how successful the Clone Wars were for Star Wars. Not kidding. They've some of the executives have just outright admitted this. And said, hey, we've got this whole generation of kids are not getting into Star Trek anymore. We need a jumping on point for young viewers. And so that's really what this is. Star Trek Prodigy is set roughly actually around the same time as Lower Decks in the timeline. It's about 10 years after Voyager. It is technically set 1 year after season 2 of Lower Decks.
And it's I definitely see the Clone Wars inspiration in that General Grievous is just straight up in it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Hey, look, that character's voiced by Jimmy Simpson. He could have looked like anything, and I would have loved it.
I'm fine with it. The character was cool.
Yeah.
But
I immediately said General Grievous too. Yeah.
My spouse and I are. My spouse is watching Clone Wars for the first time, and I'm really enjoying it. She's really into it, but even she's like, and General Grievous is here. Like, he wandered over from Disney Plus, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but
I'm making fun of it, but I do like this show.
I was actually really genuinely concerned that they, because, when it came to the show like this, because so many times kids' animated series will cheap out on animation, and so I was really happy that, Paramount took this seriously in the way that they were animating it. And it's beautiful. It's the special effects shots of the hero shots of the starship in this, literally did the same. They brought tears to my eyes the way that I'm such a frickin' sucker when it comes to Star Trek, just emotionally, Star Trek will be here's a starship you've never seen before, but it fits the right kind of categories, and so every little nostalgic heartstring in your body is going to pull when this moves dramatically through frame. I'm like, oh God, yes.
I know, it worked for me too. I'm right there with you, bud. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
Interesting characters too. I appreciated the collection of different alien species popping up, and Jason Mantzoukas is there, and that always makes me happy.
Yeah, he's in theory actually playing a Tellarite.
Right?
Which to give you the setup of the series without this, and this is pretty spoiler free. The series is, you're not following a Federation crew. It's a bunch of teenagers in the Delta Quadrant. There is effectively there was this guy who had was slaves, just enslaving people, and they kind of run across this. They end up running across this the USS Protostar, which was a prototype starship, and it's a prototype Federation starship that had been at some point. We don't know the story about where it came from or how it got there, but it's built after Voyager returned home. So it's a post-Voyager series. At some point, for some reason, a starship Protostar was sent off into the Delta Quadrant and crashed and has been abandoned there. And these kids who are effectively escaping a pretty bad situation find the starship and steal it. And that's the first episode is what you get. You get with them stealing the starship. And the kids, none of them are human. They are an array of species. One of the characters is a Medusan, which for the original series fans, it's in a Medusan and kind of like pulling a Vorlon, where they're in an encounter suit effectively. That they've built themselves.
Modern Trek has been doing a lot of pulling from original series aliens. Like the Orions have been getting a lot of love. The Andorians.
Yeah, and one of the kids.
I'm not complaining.
One of the kids is a Tellarite, and I'm really interested to see how they got how the Tellarite. Jason Mantzoukas' character is a Tellarite, and I'm really interested to see how he got there. But we do get to there's a minor appearance by a Kazon because they're in the Delta Quadrant.
Right.
Importantly, though, there is a not a returning character, but a returning actor in the fact that the ship, the USS Protostar, this prototype starship, has an emergency command hologram. An emergency training hologram. It can actually take command. From what I've read about what's coming up, and that is a hologram of Captain Catherine Janeway. And the fact that it represents her as a captain means it probably was created in the interim between Voyager getting back and her promotion to Admiral in Nemesis.
Can I talk? I want to mention something that's really why that hit me as kind of nostalgic. When I was a little kid, Voyager was, of course, a new show. And I watched some of my earliest memories of watching TV with my dad were watching Next Generation and DS9 together. And that was a time that I really valued. But when I was young, and I cannot find the name of this special, but one of the first specials on TV to promote Star Trek Voyager was aired on Nickelodeon. So for me, Catherine Janeway coming back on a show that's intended for Nickelodeon, that just, I don't know, that warms my heart in a special sort of way. It just takes me back to my early Trekker roots. I love it. It just makes me happy.
I mean, for me, one of my earliest experiences with Star Trek was actually watching Star Trek the Animated Series reruns on Nickelodeon as a kid in the 80s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's it's very much I grew up with that. This is Star Trek on Nickelodeon is a normal place for Star Trek to be for me.
It's the right place for it to be, and then again, you're also talking to someone who thinks that the animated series has some legitimately very good Trek episodes and should be held in higher regard than it is. But
it is canon though, so that's important.
It is canon. That is important because there legitimately are good episodes of animated series. Not all of them are good, but not all of the episodes of the original series are good either. That's an unfair standard to hold it to. I don't know. I liked what Prodigy's introduction. I think the characters are charming, even if not just General Grievous, but also the entire Republic clone army is there. You probably didn't realize it, but the little goo monster is voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who plays each and every one of the clones in Clone Wars.
Nice.
So, yeah, the little goo monster also voices all of the clones in Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. So that's something. I don't know what it is, but it's something. I'm looking forward to watching this every week. It's cute. It makes me happy.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really great. I think it's going to be a great entry. I was afraid that like it wouldn't be something I'd enjoy because it is for kids, and I want the show to be approachable for kids. But let's be clear, that's Star Trek being accessible to a new generation is very important to me because it means they'll keep making the show as I grow old and die.
That was probably my biggest issue with the first season of Discovery, honestly, was that it was definitely not accessible for kids, and that bummed me out. Yeah, I really love that show too.
Well, I grew up watching the original series, and then like Star Trek: The Next Generation came on in 1987 when I was like 6, and so I don't remember when exactly it premiered. I turned 7 in 1987, but I think it premiered while I was still 6 years old. I'd have to go look up the date on IMDb or something. But either way, like I was like a kid. And I watched Next Generation from Encounter at Farpoint on. Like it was because my parents. It's so weird because my parents are not nerds like we are, but importantly, like they were fans of Star Trek and Doctor Who. But the way that they watch any other TV shows,
right?
And so it's like. Growing up watching, Star Trek, but so that meant that like a new Star Trek series was appointment viewing in my family, and so it's like every time a new Star Trek show came out, like, and so it's still like when I go home and I visit my parents, we're gonna probably, I don't know if they're gonna watch Prodigy. My parents did not get into Lower Decks, because they've really enjoyed Discovery and Picard, and they are excited about Strange New Worlds. But they did not get the humor in Lower Decks is much more finely attuned towards me than it is towards them. But my parents are in their 60s, so
yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah,
I can understand people not vibing with Lower Decks. I
think they're
love it,
wrong,
but I'm not going to pretend it's for everybody. Yeah.
If Lower Decks isn't for you, there's something wrong with you. No, I'm kidding. Everyone, its humor is subjective. And I think that everyone has the right to like whatever they like, even when they're wrong. I'm very helpful right now. Yeah, no.
Prodigy is good.
Prodigy is fun. It's good. Enjoy its show.
It's real good. I like it. Go watch it.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it, probably. If you don't, no hard feelings. Except for you. Specifically, you know who you are.
All the feelings
Ryan.
Are... Yeah. Whatever. Anyway.
Real talk, the only Star Trek that I know for sure that Arkham has watched was the time that I forced him to watch Threshold because I wanted to subject
Why
my
would you
friend
do that to
the worst
him?
episode of Voyager.
First off, Threshold is not the worst episode of Voyager. I'm just putting it out there. It's not. Everybody knows the worst episode of Voyager is Tuvix.
Okay, that's pretty bad too. But like, I don't know. I just his tongue falls out and he turns into a salamander. I've seen Threshold more than any other Voyager.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's funny.
What is wrong with you?
I think it's one of the most inadvertently funny pieces of television. It is Star Trek.
And Janeway and Paris never talk about the fact that they fucked after that episode. I know I said it twice, which should earn us an explicit, but I'm not going to mark the episode explicit because I'm a wild card like that. But they never talk about having gotten it on ever again. I understand that they were lizards at the time, but it still counts when you're a lizard. I'm just putting it out there. Like, if you...
That quote of the episode, it still counts when you're a lizard. I want you all to know that. Still counts.
We found the episode title. And they just left their kids there. They had babies.
Whatever, they're lizards.
They're Federation citizens.
It's a magic reset button. Don't worry about it.
All right. So I guess that's our review of Star Trek Prodigy. It still counts when you're a lizard. All right. That's our review of a children's show. Moving on to the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. The Vomit Hat Steve Challenge is the part of the episode where I read to you a line from a book, and the challenge to you, the listener, is to guess what book I am reading from. If you guess correctly, your name will be included in the Hall of Awesome. The benefits of the Hall of Awesome are as follow. 1, we put your name on a web page we've buried somewhere on nerdandtie.com. 2, we read your name aloud every episode of this podcast that hardly anyone listens to, including you. You're not listening right now at all, are you, Tony? And 3, Tony, I won't have to do the thing. Anyways, current members of the Hall of Awesome are as follows. Archimide Zero, Renee Ascenti, Cheesy McDamu, Krista, Slithery, Shameless Otaku, The Random Ramblings Man, Corfan, Capito, Chris Graham, Lily Soros, Paper Godzilla, Cabsy, The Minnesota Librarian, Sean Orange, Keith Shizuo, Sakura Sunset, Joel Kreisman, Patrick Delahanty, Wonderland Hearts, and Megsy Sass Council. And the current book is in front of me and in my hands. And this will be your... That's not the line, that's just me talking about the book. She led the way through the dusty crystals and slabs into the back of the shop, where there was a wide corridor lined with shelves. Crystals of all sizes sparkled down at him. If you know what book that's from, go to nerdandtie.com and go to the contact page, click on the For Me form, and tell us. Or, we used to do this thing called Mailbag every episode, where we'd, read your letters. Remember that? Remember that, guys? Well, you could still send that stuff in, Archimize.
Send us some letters, maybe.
Because
you're married doesn't mean you don't get to send letters anymore, Archimize. Jeez.
Yeah. So do or else we'll start making up stuff, and the slander will just begin. Archimize specifically. I'm not threatening anyone else to make up letters from them, but I will make up a letter from Archimize if that's what it takes to get this stupid segment going again. Because I know exactly why it happened, because we lost... the listenership numbers have not dropped. I know that the same number of people are listening to this dang show as used to. I don't know if they're the same people, but, yeah, it's, write us something. We like hearing from you. We want to know your thoughts, your dreams, your hopes. Tell us why you think that thing went that way that one time when you were paying attention to it. Just go for it, dude. Just go for it. Oh, man.
Tell us what design you carved into your Halloween pumpkin this year.
Yeah, let's see some pumpkins.
We don't actually... We're an audio-based program, first off.
We're an audio... I still want to know
But secondly, it's a text-based form. So just describe your pumpkin in text.
Describe it beautifully with prose.
Describe your pumpkin in prose and tell us all about it and why it makes you feel special.
And if you do want to show us a picture of your beautifully carved pumpkin, you should join the Nerd and Tie Discord.
Exactly. The Nerd and Tie Discord.
Come on there.
Oh my God, I forgot to do the thing at the beginning of the episode where I mentioned the Nerd and Tie podcast is part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. Unsurprisingly. For more podcasts, from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by going to nerdandtie.com/Discord, where you'll find an invite. Pretend I did that at the beginning of the show and not at the end of the show, everybody. And we've got this great photographic fun section on the Discord, so you can share photos. So send us photos of your cool Halloween costumes and your pumpkins, and tell us how neat they are. There's a lot of stuff going on at the Nerd and Tie Network. A new show just launched this last week from the creators of Famicom Dojo. Sean Orange and Vink have launched Two Boobs Watch the Tube, in which they included a reference to the boob tube, which is a phrase that most people listening to the podcast are too young to get. But, they effectively, every episode, review a season of a show. In their first episode, they, in fact, review the first season of C on Apple TV Plus, which stars Jason Momoa, and they go in deep discussion about that. And in the second episode, they talk about Sci-Fi Channel classic Farscape, which means which was made by a lot of the same people helped in that stuff who made the Dune miniseries. So it all ties together, guys. This is network synergy. So you should check it. The show's pretty funny. We're a podcast network, and we didn't have two cishet guys discussing television shows anywhere on the network, and Sean and Vink bravely stepped up and said, "Hey, we're your two cishet guys." So I guess maybe they could have Tyler from Cool and Unusual Punishment guest sometime and just get all of them on one show.
Be like that shot with all the women superheroes in Endgame. It's just our
three cishet guys.
Yeah.
Well, and Scott. Yeah. Well, I guess Scott. I've never asked Scott what his orientation is.
Are we? Scott from the Meat Grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a cishet guy.
Yeah. Okay, so we get Scott. So Scott, Tyler, Sean, and Vink. We'll get them all on one episode. That's got to be the plan, right?
Yep.
I sounds good to me. Let's make it happen.
That's all of them. Anyways, this show you can follow us on social media at Nerd and Tie on Twitter, nerdandtie.tumblr.com. Or you can find the podcast about nerdandtie.com, where all of our shows can be found. You can support this show financially either by sponsoring an episode, or you can support me directly on Patreon at patreon.com/TRAEGORN, Nick directly on Patreon at patreon.com/NickAzumi, and Gen sells stuff under Ocelot Dude Designs, right?
On Etsy.
On Etsy. That's a word that I should have included in that description. And remember, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Google Podcasts, on pretty much anything. And if there's a place you can rate and review, do that. Oh, yeah, and you can follow the whole network on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdandtie. I forgot to mention that.
Sweet.
I'm dumb. Anyways, so in your hearts, in your minds, if you find a place that is empty and hollow, remember, you can always just shove a bunch of sand in there and say it's another Dune remake, and even if nothing happens for several hours, just say you're trying to do its cinematographic justice. I guess.
Well, we lost all of our Dune fans now.
I liked the movie. That's the review. I overall enjoyed the dang film. It was a good movie. It's just too long for this. It didn't need to be that long. It could have been shorter and better. That doesn't make it bad. It means it could have been better.
Hey, whatever you gotta tell yourself. I don't know.
And Jason Momoa is great. They should have cast him as a character who lives past the first movie. Spoiler. Anyways, say your catchphrase, Nick.
Keep on spocking in the free world.
And again, it still counts when you're a lizard.